On the Avengers film set, everyone was watching Chris Hemsworth's magnificent Thor performance. But his dog Thunder was watching something else, the suspicious movements of a crew member on set. The dog was so restless that he managed to get Chris's attention, and just in time, because that person was preparing a very dangerous plan. At Pinewood Atlanta Studios, the massive Avengers film production was in full swing. This was the climactic battle scene of the movie, the moment when all the heroes would unite against the ultimate threat. Chris Hemsworth, in his full Thor costume complete with Mjolnir hammer and flowing red cape, was preparing for the most important scene of his Marvel career. Beside him, as always, stood Thunder. The 4-year-old Australian Shepherd had been Chris's constant companion on film sets since 2019. Thunder wasn't just a pet. He was a certified emotional support animal and had been specially trained to handle the chaos and noise of major film productions. His blue and brown heterochromatic eyes were always alert, scanning the environment with remarkable intelligence. "Thunder's become quite the movie star himself," joked director Anthony Russo, watching the dog calmly observe the massive set construction around them. Dozens of crew members were setting up explosions, rigging wire work, and positioning cameras for the epic battle sequence. The set was enormous, a recreated alien landscape with practical effects, green screen elements, and intricate stunt choreography. Over 150 cast and crew members were working in perfect synchronization to create movie magic. Thunder had seen it all before and usually remained perfectly calm during even the most chaotic action sequences, but today was different. At 2:30 p.m., as final preparations began for the major stunt sequence, Thunder started displaying unusual behavior. The normally calm dog began pacing around Chris, his ears constantly swiveling and his nose working overtime. His heterochromatic eyes, one blue, one brown, were focused intently on the crew members moving around the set. "Thunder seems a bit on edge today," observed Chris's stunt coordinator, Sarah Mitchell. "Maybe it's the scale of this sequence. We've got more pyrotechnics than usual." Chris noticed his dog's behavior too. Thunder kept looking toward a specific area of the set, the special effects station where a new crew member was working with electrical equipment. The man was adjusting wiring and checking connections for the elaborate explosion sequences planned for the scene. "Easy boy," Chris said, kneeling to pet Thunder, but the dog wouldn't be calmed. His attention kept returning to that one crew member, and his body language showed increasing tension. Thunder began to emit low, almost inaudible growls whenever that particular crew member moved. This was completely unlike his normal behavior. In 5 years of film productions, Thunder had never shown aggression or suspicion toward any crew member. The crew member in question was introduced as Marcus Webb, a special effects technician who had been brought in specifically for this complex sequence. He claimed to have worked on several major productions, though his references seemed oddly vague when production assistants tried to verify his credentials. Marcus appeared professional enough. He wore the proper safety gear, seemed to know his equipment, and integrated well with the existing crew. But Thunder's reaction to him was unmistakable. Every time Marcus moved around the set, Thunder's ears would perk up and his gaze would lock onto the man. "I've never seen Thunder react to anyone like this," said Chris's personal assistant, Jennifer Lee. "He's usually so social with crew members. He loves getting attention from new people." But Marcus seemed to actively avoid Thunder. When other crew members would pet the dog or give him treats, Marcus would find reasons to work in different areas of the set. He never made eye contact with Thunder and appeared uncomfortable whenever the dog was nearby. Thunder's behavior escalated throughout the afternoon. He began positioning himself between Chris and Marcus whenever possible, and started giving quiet warning whines when Marcus approached their area of the set. At 4 p.m., the full cast and crew gathered for the final safety briefing before filming the elaborate stunt sequence. This scene would involve controlled explosions, wire work, and complex choreography with multiple actors in the same space. As stunt coordinator Sarah Mitchell explained the safety protocols, Thunder became visibly agitated. The dog was no longer content to lie quietly beside Chris. He kept standing up, pacing, and looking toward Marcus with what could only be described as suspicion. During the explosion sequence, Sarah continued, all personnel must be in designated safe zones. The charges are precisely timed and positioned, but everyone must follow protocols exactly. Marcus Webb raised his hand. I've made some last-minute adjustments to the electrical timing sequences, he said. Everything should be more spectacular than originally planned. Thunder's reaction was immediate and dramatic. The dog let out a sharp bark, something he never did during professional briefings. All eyes turned to the usually well-behaved Australian shepherd. Sorry, Chris said, embarrassed. Thunder, quiet. But Thunder wouldn't be silenced. He continued to stare at Marcus, his hackles slightly raised, and his intelligent eyes showing clear alarm. After the briefing, Chris made a decision that would prove crucial. Despite the embarrassment of Thunder's outburst, he decided to trust his dog's instincts. In 5 years together, Thunder had never been wrong about people. Sarah, Chris called his stunt coordinator aside. I know this sounds crazy, but Thunder has never acted like this before. Could we double-check Marcus's credentials and maybe have someone review his electrical work? Sarah looked skeptical, but respected Chris enough to take his concerns seriously. Thunder does seem unusually focused on him, she admitted. Let me check with production security. Meanwhile, Thunder continued his vigilant watch. He positioned himself where he could observe Marcus while staying close to Chris. The dog's behavior was so unusual that other cast members began to notice. Your dog doesn't seem to like the new tech guy, observed Scarlett Johansson, who was preparing for her own stunts in the sequence. That's what worries me, Chris replied. Thunder's usually great with everyone. If he's this concerned, there might be a reason. Production Security Chief Mike Rodriguez was initially skeptical about investigating a crew member based on a dog's behavior, but Chris's reputation and Thunder's unusual persistence convinced him to look deeper. Let me run Marcus Webb's credentials through our database again, Mike said. Sometimes paperwork gets rushed on big productions. What they found was disturbing. Marcus Webb's references led to companies that had either gone out of business or had no record of employing him. His social security number belonged to someone else, and his previous work history couldn't be verified. This guy is using a false identity, Mike told Chris quietly. We need to investigate without tipping him off. Thunder, as if sensing the validation of his concerns, finally calmed down slightly but maintained his watchful posture. His eyes never left Marcus as the fake technician continued working with the electrical systems. A deeper investigation revealed Marcus Webb's true identity. Michael Warren, a former special effects technician who had been fired from previous productions for unsafe practices and had developed a grudge against the Marvel franchise after being blacklisted from major studio work. Security cameras showed Warren had been subtly sabotaging the electrical timing systems for the explosion sequence. Instead of the precisely controlled special effects planned for the scene, his modifications would have created a massive, uncontrolled explosion that could have seriously injured or killed multiple cast and crew members. He was planning to make it look like an accident, explained FBI agent Lisa Chen, who was called in once the sabotage was discovered. The explosion would have been blamed on equipment failure, but the scale would have been catastrophic. The investigation revealed that Warren had specifically targeted this production because of its high profile and the presence of multiple A-list actors. His goal was to create a disaster that would devastate the film industry and get revenge for his career failures. Warren was arrested without incident as he was preparing to activate the sabotaged explosives. In his hotel room, investigators found detailed plans of the set, timing charts for the actors' positions, and evidence of his intent to cause maximum harm. "If Thunder hadn't alerted us," said Mike Rodriguez, "we would never have caught this in time." The explosion was set to trigger during the most crowded moment of the stunt sequence. Chris knelt beside Thunder and wrapped his arms around his heroic dog. "You saved everyone, buddy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You're the real superhero here." Thunder wagged his tail and leaned into Chris, finally relaxed now that the threat had been eliminated. His mission was complete. Thunder's heroic actions made headlines worldwide. Thor's dog saves Marvel set became one of the biggest entertainment news stories of the year. But more importantly, it led to significant changes in film industry's security protocols. "This incident showed us that we need multiple layers of security verification," said Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. "Thunder's natural instincts caught something our background checks missed." New protocols were implemented requiring multiple reference checks, biometric verification, and what became known as the Thunder Protocol. The use of trained security dogs on major film productions. Dr. Amanda Foster, an animal behavior specialist, explained Thunder's success. Dogs can detect stress pheromones, unusual electrical activity, and behavioral patterns that humans miss. Thunder's background as an emotional support animal made him especially sensitive to threatening behavior. Following the incident, Thunder was given an official position as Canine Security Consultant for Marvel Studios Productions. He received his own ID badge, security clearance, and even a custom Thor-themed collar designed by the costume department. "Thunder's not just Chris's companion anymore," said Anthony Russo. "He's part of our security team. His presence makes everyone feel safer." The dog now participates in pre-production security briefings and is present during all major stunt sequences. His ability to detect unusual behavior or suspicious activity has become a valued part of Marvel's comprehensive safety protocols. The incident deepened the already strong bond between Chris and Thunder. What started as a companion animal relationship had evolved into a true partnership based on mutual trust and respect. "Thunder saved not just my life, but the lives of everyone on that set," Chris said in interviews. "He's always been special, but now I understand he's truly extraordinary." Thunder accompanies Chris to all his film projects now, not just as emotional support, but as an active security partner. The dog's keen instincts and natural protective abilities have made him indispensable to production safety. Thunder's success inspired a new program training dogs specifically for film set security. The Thunder Training Protocol teaches dogs to identify suspicious behavior, unusual sounds, and potentially dangerous situations in entertainment environments. "We're not trying to replace human security," explained trainer Patricia Williams. "We're adding another layer of protection that can catch things humans might miss." Several other major studios have now implemented similar programs, and Thunder often serves as a mentor for newly trained security dogs. Today, Thunder continues his dual role as Chris Hemsworth's beloved companion and Marvel's security consultant. He's present on every major production, quietly observing and ensuring the safety of cast and crew. "Having Thunder on set gives everyone peace of mind," says current Marvel security director James Patterson. He's prevented 3 more potential incidents since the Warren case, all involving people with false credentials or suspicious behavior. Thunder's success has proven that sometimes the best security technology comes with 4 legs and a wet nose. 5 years later, Thunder sits calmly beside Chris on the set of the latest Marvel production. His heterochromatic eyes scan the crew with the same vigilant attention that saved so many lives that day in Atlanta. The dog wears his official Marvel security badge proudly, but to Chris, he's still the same loyal companion who chose to protect his family above all else. Thunder's heroism didn't require a costume or special effects, just the courage to trust his instincts and the determination to protect those he loved. People always ask me what it's like to play a superhero, Chris reflects, watching Thunder maintain his protective watch. But I live with a real one. Thunder doesn't need Mjolnir or a cape. He's got something more powerful: loyalty, intelligence, and an unbreakable commitment to protecting others. Thunder looks up at Chris and wags his tail, then returns his attention to his security duties. Because real heroes never stop watching, never stop protecting, and never stop being ready when danger threatens those they love. In the world of make-believe superheroes, Thunder proved that real heroism comes from the heart, and sometimes it comes on 4 paws.